It's a chilly night in downtown Chicago. The streets glisten with rain, and neon lights reflect off the puddles. Inside a black SUV, billionaire William Archer steps out, flanked by security. He's in a rush, until panic freezes him. "Where's Ella?" he snaps. His 9-year-old daughter is missing. The guards scatter. William races toward the corner, then stops dead in his tracks. There, at a bus stop shelter, he sees Ella, sitting on a bench beside a homeless black girl, maybe 13. The girl holds a piece of chalk. On the wet sidewalk, she's scribbling fractions. 1/4 plus 1/2 equals... Ella giggles. "I get it now!" William just stares. His daughter, struggling in math for months, is learning from this girl in torn sneakers, hoodie pulled tight against the cold. William clears his throat. "What's your name?" The girl looks up with shy smile. Maya Johnson." And in that moment, William does something no one, his bodyguards, his PR team, his investors, could ever expect. He slips off his $5,000 coat, drapes it over Maya's shoulders, kneels on the wet pavement, and says, "Maya, teach me too." That night at a bus stop, a billionaire and a homeless teenager start a lesson that will shake an entire city. Because over the next 30 days, William Archer won't just change one girl's life, he'll change his own and challenge a broken system. William Archer was known across Chicago as the man who built towers of glass and steel. His face was on magazine covers, his name on downtown skyscrapers. In boardrooms, people whispered his net worth with awe. But at home, there was one place his success never reached: his daughter's homework table. 9-year-old Ella struggled with math. Every evening, she'd slide her workbook across the table. "Dad, can you help?" And every evening, the answer was the same. "Later, sweetheart. I've got a call." But later never came. For Ella, her father's empire felt like walls that kept him farther away. On the other side of the city, Maya Johnson's world looked nothing like Ella's. At 13, she should have been in middle school classrooms, not bus stop shelters. Her mother, Tasha, worked 2 jobs: cleaning, offices by day, serving diners by night. But when rent doubled after a new luxury complex rose in their neighborhood, the eviction notice came quickly: boxes, bags, and then nothing. Homeless, but not hopeless. Maya carried a worn backpack filled with old report cards and a half-broken piece of chalk. On sidewalks and at bus stops, she turned concrete into a classroom. She'd sketch out math problems, grammar lessons, anything she remembered. Sometimes little kids stopped, and sometimes strangers tossed her $1. But every day she kept teaching because learning made her feel alive. That night outside the museum gala, the irony cut deep. Inside, millionaires clinked glasses for a fundraiser titled Education for All. Outside, a homeless girl actually delivered it. And William Archer saw his daughter's face light up in a way it never had in his penthouse. As the rain fell, he invited Maya and her mom to join him for hot cocoa at a nearby cafe. At first, Maya hesitated. "We can't go inside like this." William smiled. "Tonight, you're my guest." Inside, with cocoa steaming and grilled cheese on the table, Maya's backpack spilled open. Among the crumpled notebooks and chalk, dust, William noticed something that stopped him cold: school flyers stamped with his own company's logo. His empire had built the project that forced Maya's family out, and for the first time, the billionaire didn't see profits. He saw the cost. The next morning, William sat in his penthouse office staring out at the skyline he had built. Towers, cranes, glass, monuments to his ambition. But now every building looked different. He didn't just see steel and profit margins. He saw the families who once lived on the lots he replaced. He saw Maya. He saw Tasha. He saw Ella's laughter at that bus stop. His phone buzzed. It was his head of public relations. "Sir, this story is cute. We can turn it into a photo op. You sponsor her school, Shake some hands, the press eats it up. William didn't answer. For the first time in his career, he wasn't thinking about headlines. He was thinking about the truth. That afternoon, he had his driver take him to the small hotel where Maya and Tasha were staying, but at the front desk, the receptionist shook her head. Expired ID. We can't check you in without proper documents. William felt anger rise in his chest. She's a child. You're telling me they can't have a room because her mother's ID expired? Policy, sir. Policy. The same word he'd heard 1,000 times in board meetings. The same excuse. For evictions, for red tape, for pushing people aside. This time, he wouldn't let it stand. He pulled out his wallet, handed over his own card, and said, "Run it under my name. Tonight. They're not on the street." Later that week, William marched into Ella's school. He asked the principal why kids like Maya couldn't be enrolled without a permanent address. The principal folded his arms. "It's the rule. No address, no seat." "Then change it," William said. His voice was calm, but it carried the weight of a man used to making billion-dollar deals. "If my company can change skylines, your school can change one policy." And that night, William drafted a new initiative. Students facing housing instability should never be barred from learning. No address required, no paperwork delays. He funded lawyers to make it happen. But he didn't stop there. Every evening, he came home, turned off his phone, and sat with Ella. For the first time, later became now. And sometimes, Maya joined through video calls. Two girls from two different worlds. One from a penthouse, one from a bus stop, working, through the same math problems together. It didn't take long for whispers to spread. People saw William Archer, billionaire of Archer Group, sitting on sidewalks with chalk in his hands, solving fractions next to kids in shelters. Some thought it was a stunt. Others thought he had lost his mind. But for William, it was the first time in years that life made sense. The turning point came when Maya, Ella, and Tasha visited an empty Archer-owned building. 12 floors stood dark, abandoned. William looked at the massive space and asked softly, "What could this place be?" Maya whispered, "A school." Tasha added, "And housing." Ella beamed. "Why not both?" In that quiet building, a vision was born. The bus stop school network, centers where homeless families could find safety upstairs and children could learn downstairs, places with lockers, showers, tutoring, job desks, and libraries where no one asked for an address. William called his architects the very next morning. "Design me a place," he said, "where dignity walks in first, but vision has enemies." At the next board meeting, investors shouted, "Charity isn't strategy, you'll sink the company." One CFO slammed his fist on the table. "We didn't sign up to fund homeless shelters." William stared back. "Then you didn't sign up for humanity." The media caught wind. Headlines blared, "Billionaire buys redemption." Politicians whispered, "He's grandstanding." Even some of his friends called him crazy. But none of it mattered. Because for the first time in his life, William Archer wasn't building towers for himself. He was building something bigger, something that money alone could never buy. The pressure reached its breaking point one stormy evening. William stood before the Archer Group board, the men and women who had helped him build his empire. Their faces were tight with anger. "You're jeopardizing billions," one investor spat. "This bus stop school nonsense, it's bleeding money. Do you even realize what you're doing to shareholder confidence?" Another added sharply. "The press is mocking you. Politicians are laughing. You're turning Archer Group into a charity case. Step down, William, or we'll vote you out." The room went silent. Every eye was on him. For a moment, William felt the weight of his empire crashing down. Step down, or lose everything he had built. Then he thought of Ella, the way she smiled when Maya explained fractions on that rainy night. He thought of Maya, chalk in hand, teaching on the sidewalk while her stomach growled with hunger. he thought. Of Tasha, working 2 jobs and still losing her home to projects that carried his own name. William rose slowly from his chair, palms flat on the mahogany table. His voice was low, but it shook the room. All my life I thought success meant steel, glass, and money in the bank. But what's the point of towers if they cast shadows over children with nowhere to sleep? What's the point of profits if they come at the cost of families like Maya's? He leaned closer, locking eyes with his board. You can take my title, you can strip my shares, but you will not stop this. Because for the first time in my life, I'm building something worth living for. Gasps filled the room. Some executives pushed back their chairs in fury, others sat frozen. William grabbed the project blueprints, tucked them under his arm, and walked out into the storm. Outside the skyscraper, Maya, Ella, and Tasha waited by the car. William looked at them and smiled, not as a billionaire, but as a man who had finally chosen a side. That night, under pouring rain, he announced it publicly. The first bus stop school will open here in Chicago, and it will not be the last. The weeks that followed were nothing short of remarkable. What began as a bus stop lesson in the rain transformed into something far bigger than anyone imagined. Construction crews entered the abandoned Archer building, floors once silent and empty, filled with desks, chalkboards, and children's laughter. Upstairs, families moved into furnished rooms, safe, warm, and theirs, even if only for a season. The press circled, some calling it redemption, others calling it madness. But the people who mattered most didn't care about the headlines. Maya walked into her new classroom and, for the first time in months, raised her hand not to ask for food or shelter, but to answer a math problem on the board. Her mother, Tasha, found steady work with the project itself, helping new families transition in. And Ella? She no longer sat alone at the kitchen table. Her father, William Archer, was right beside her, phone shut off, laughing as they solved fractions together. One evening, William stood at the doorway of the bus stop school, watching children spill out, backpacks bouncing, voices high with joy. He whispered to himself, "This is the legacy I want. Not towers, not magazines. This." And as the sun set over the Chicago skyline, the very skyline he had built, William realized that the true measure of wealth wasn't counted in dollars or square footage, but in lives lifted from the shadows. Maya looked up at him, her voice soft but steady. "Mr. Archer, you didn't just build a school. You built hope." William smiled, bending down so his eyes met hers. "No, Maya. You did. You were the teacher all along." In that moment, a billionaire and a once homeless girl stood side by side, forever bound by a lesson far greater than numbers on a page, that the smallest act of teaching, of kindness, can ripple outward and change an entire world. Picture it one last time. A billionaire, a homeless girl, and a rainy bus stop where chalk on the pavement sparked a revolution. William Archer thought he was teaching his daughter how to succeed, but in truth, it was Maya who taught him what success really means. And here's the question for you. If one child with nothing but a piece of chalk could change the heart of a man with everything, what excuse do the rest of us have? This isn't just William's story. It's ours. Because every city has its Mayas. Every street corner hides a lesson waiting to be seen. The only question is, will we stop long enough to notice? So now I ask you, if you were William Archer that night, stepping out of that black SUV, what would you have done? Comment below and tell us. And if you believe stories like this need to be heard, share this video. And don't forget to subscribe for more real justice stories.